Today we're going to be talking about how to craft a resume and a cover letter. And as we're talking about that, the first thing that you want to consider is who is going to be seeing this resume. Are you writing it to get a job at General Motors as an engineer? Are you writing it to join a graphic design firm? Or are you writing it to get a job as a dishwasher at a local restaurant? Another thing to consider is what size of company are you applying at? Are you looking to get in with a Fortune 500 company, a global company, a regional company, or a local mom and pop shop? That's going to change the content and the feel and the way you word a resume. Now, for most people, the first part of creating a resume is really frustrating and sometimes a little scary because most of us are not graphic designers, so we don't know how to design a nice looking template that looks like this, that would look really nice. So I'm going to give you some tips on where to find some excellent resume templates. The first one that you'll probably want to look at is here in Microsoft Word. If you open up Microsoft Word and click on File, and you're going to find a new one, you can come over here. I'm just going to type in the word resume. Now when you do that, several templates are going to pop up, and you're going to see some that have like a nice picture like this one, some that are just text, some that have this brilliant sort of design, and then some that are very simple like this one, a very basic resume. All right. Now, I would like to recommend that when you're looking at a template, you have to consider a couple of things. One, how it presents. Does it look nice like this one? And then two, is it easily editable? Let me show you what I mean. So when you click on this resume here, looks like a nice resume, has a nice little pictures, some graphics, things like that. But once you get into this resume, you'll realize that it's difficult to edit. So for example, how would you change this picture out? I would normally click on it and see if there's a little button over here that says, hey, this is how you change a picture. But that doesn't exist. The way to actually change this pictures is very difficult. You have to drill down in the menu, go down and choose this file button, but that's not very intuitive and you don't have time to figure all that out. Another thing is, what if you want to change these little bars down here? What if you say like your skill of outdoor sales or engineering or whatever is at this level, but you want to change this graph? It's not very simple to do that. I'm not quite sure how to do that. And so this resume rules itself out for me. If you look in our original list when we looked up the resume templates, you'll see this down here by this company called Moo. I like them. They make elegant looking resumes, but they're also easily editable. So let me show you what I mean. So here's the resume template pulled up, and it's pretty simple. If you want to put in a link to your website here, okay, let's say you're a graphic designer, you can put in your site right there. Or if you want to just put in graphic design. Come over here, you can change your initials. Also down on the bottom where it has this footer right here with all this contact information, you just double click on it and you can type in your phone number or your Twitter handle or your LinkedIn address. Very simple, easy to do. Now what if you wanted to add in some more experience? All you would do is come up here, highlight it, go to copy, right? Now with this template, you actually have to type in something right here, then hit enter, and then you can paste it. And lo and behold, now you have 3 job titles, company, etc. And you could just do that again for education or for anything else for that matter. Another resource that I want to show you, you can find this online. Now the ones I just showed you in Microsoft Word were free, but there are some that you can pay for online. So there's this one called Creative Market. So now, you just do the same thing. You search for resume templates here, you'll see several pop up. So let's look at this one. This is a $12 resume. It's gorgeous. So if you're into graphic design, or if you have some sort of media-rich job, this might not be a bad resume for you. You would just pay $12, and you could download this and then update it to your heart's content. Looks like it also comes with a second page and a cover letter template as well that matches the same formatting. So going to a website like Creative Market is not a bad way to go if you have a little bit of money to spend, but usually I just stick with good old-fashioned Microsoft Word. Now, one thing I want to mention is that a resume isn't so much about what you have done, it's about what you want to do. And that's why this objective statement over here is so important, right? So all this stuff in your experience and in your education and volunteer experience and whatnot, that is pretty much going to stay static on any resume that you do. But the two things that are going to change are your objective statement and the skills. You're going to highlight skills from your past jobs that are pertinent to your objective. So for some of you out there where maybe you want to do customer service, maybe you want to do management, maybe one other type of job that you're out there for, you might have 3 different resumes that have a different set of skills lined up here and 3 different maybe objective statements, but it's all going to be the same experience and same education. That is the key to redeeming your time when you're doing custom resumes. You're going to have your master elements of your resume here, and then you're going to have your changeable elements of your resume in this section over here. Now, one thing I do want to talk about are power words in a resume. So here's an example of a resume, right? So this one is a designer, and he has power words like drawings, AutoCAD, sketches. These are all words that pertain to being a designer. He was a purchasing controller, which means that he managed inventory systems, MROs, other things that are very specific to that industry. You want to use words that are important for the industry or for the type of position that you're going for. That will help you with something called search engine optimization. That's where recruiters, they have software that they use, and then they comb thousands of resumes looking for words like this. I'm looking for a purchaser. I'm looking for someone with AutoCAD experience, someone who is into project estimation. You want to have your resume filled with power words so that way you can let recruiters' software do the heavy lifting and they can reach out to you rather than you always having to reach out to them. There are 2 different types of resumes that you need to have. There's one that's called a human-facing resume, and that's what this is. This looks pleasant to the eye. It has some color. It's not ostentatious, but has modern fonts and whatnot and good contact information, right? And you can see that this is a nice resume here. But you also want to have a resume that a machine can look at or that software can look at. There's this software out there called applicant tracking software. Applicant tracking software does not do well with heavily formatted resumes that have these colors and different fonts and whatnot. They do significantly better with the very plain resumes that we saw down here. Like maybe this one or this one here. If you have something like this, the software is easily able to grab the contact information, your education and whatnot, and be able to parse that into their software. So you got to have 2 types of resumes. You got to have this kind, which is called an ATS or Applicant Tracking System resume, and then you want to have something like this, which is a human-facing resume that has some resonance, that has some color to it. You don't want to have an ATS or a very basic resume to give to a person. This looks like white noise. Everybody out there hands in a very basic resume like this, and you're just one of 1,000. Whereas if you have something that's like this one, it's going to stand out from the crowd without being gaudy. Now, I do want to mention something about resumes and cover letters. You need to have one. It needs to have good grammar. It needs to have perfect spelling and punctuation. But don't spend too much time on it. A resume does not matter anywhere near as much as activity does when it comes to getting a job. So reaching out to employers, networking, things like that matter so much more than having a resume. I wouldn't spend more than maybe 2 hours on making your first resume, and then from there, just make minor updates for the different positions. There's some people out there who will who will spend 10, 20, 40 hours making a resume just perfect, when that time would be better spent reaching out to employers. You want to have a resume that's excellent, maybe take 2 to 3 hours to do one, tops, and then get to work on finding a job. Now, the next thing that I want to show us are cover letters. Cover letters have a couple different formats. I'm going to show you the first one here, which is called the T format cover letter. The reason why it's called a T format is because in this middle table here, if you took these two columns here, so you got a bar across the top, a bar going down the middle, looks like a T. And so it just kind of stuck that way. The T format cover letter has on the left side the job requirements that are listed in the job listing, and on the right side it has your qualifications and experience. So you're trying to match up your qualifications and experience with each listed component of the job requirements. Very basic, very straightforward. Lots of people love the T format cover letter, so there's nothing wrong with it. Go ahead and send that in if you like. I also happen to like the 4-paragraph format of a cover letter. So this one, you'll notice, has the same sort of font and format as the resume, which was important so that they match, right? But what happens with this one is you have certain elements. You're going to put your contact information up here, your address over here, change the information down here. Maybe you can add in the LinkedIn profile if you have one, the icon for that. But what you'll notice here is these parts that are highlighted in yellow are the parts that are customizable. So this is a cover letter template. I chose this wording here based upon a lot of my research and what works well, but you'll see here that it flows nicely. I possess over X amount of years of progressive experience in the XYZ field, right? So this is where you're going to just type in, so maybe it's finance, right? Your professional positions include, and you would just type in the job title and the company you worked at. Same thing for the second part. And what you want to do is put either most recently, if your most recent job is the one that has the skills and qualifications the new job you're looking for wants, or if it's not your most recent job, if one of your past jobs that require the same requirements that the one you're looking for now does, then you're going to go over here and you just type in most pertinently or something similar to that. And then you're just going to list out your job duties, titles, and whatnot. But these highlighted parts here are the only things that change. All the rest of this information right here stays the same. And voila, you have a cover letter. And the beautiful thing about this is that it doesn't take hours and hours to update. So you can send out a ton of different cover letters, maybe take 10 minutes each time just to update these job duties or whatever you're wanting to particularly highlight. Now, one other thing that you could do in this cover letter is put in a brief sentence about if you have a mutual acquaintance at the company. Lots of people recommend like the best way to get in at a company is to know someone who's already there. So you could just say, hey, I was speaking with Carol, and Carol mentioned that you were hiring for an XYZ position. Please take a look at my attached resume for a detailed look at my skills and experience. It's as simple as that. Obviously, when you come up here, you're going to change this to whatever the company name is that you're looking to get in at, the title of the position you're looking for, etc. Okay? And with that, we have concluded our session on resumes and cover letters.